There wasn't a second to lose.
Oh, schnell, beeil dich!
We sent our smallest man into the chamber. At the last minute, he defused the mine. Vienna was saved.
Fire!
But at the breach, the battle was still raging.
Wie sieht's aus? Die Mine ist unschädlich. Gut gemacht, danke.
The greatest danger had been averted, but the Turks were not giving up. That afternoon, their attack was stronger than ever. Starrenberg searched desperately for the relief force.
Weiter!
But all he could see was the crescent moon flag at the head of the Turkish army. The Ottoman flag was intended to spur Kara Mustafa's soldiers on. Now he wanted victory in an open battle. The Allied commanders had been ordered to prepare for a decisive clash the following day. But that was before the unfurling of the Ottoman flag. Today or never.
Und Feuer!
At last, all the Allied forces had formed a united front against the Turkish lines. The whole Christian force launched a general attack. Now, Sobieski too wanted to liberate Vienna on the 12th of September. Attacking on a broad front, his armored horsemen overran the Ottoman lines. That charge on the Kahlenberg turned the tide. Kara Mustafa's strategy had failed.
Bu arada ordunun teknolojik bakımdan üstünlüğüne rağmen komutanlar arasında da bir görüş birliğinin sağlanmadığını söylemek mümkündür. Ve mazideki gibi padişah sefere katılmamıştı. Kahlenberg'de ise Sobieski gibi iyi bir kumandan vardı ve kader orada çizilmişti.
Kara Mustafa had underestimated the strength of the relief force. The attack of the Polish cavalry finally forced the Ottoman troops back. There could now be only one outcome. But the Turks tried stubbornly to defend their camp against the Polish onslaught. When the champions of Islam saw the enemy advancing to attack, they all lost the desire to fight. Utterly devastated by the terrible defeat, which had occurred in accordance with the supreme will of Allah, Kara Mustafa took the holy flag of Islam and turned to flee. Fighting and shedding bloody tears, everyone tried to escape with life and limb from the infidel swine. That is how a Turkish eyewitness described the end of the battle. By the evening of the 12th of September, 1683, the battle was won and Vienna was free.
By God, never had there been such a triumph. Never had such a significant victory cost our side so little blood. And never had an army behaved with more valor than the Viennese.
In the propaganda of the day, Vienna was hailed the center of Christian bravery and honor. The eagle's strength had defeated the Islamic arch-enemy. The story of the Alliance's victory spread all over Europe. The French in particular were to know, we did it without you. Satirical pamphlets show Kara Mustafa riding a donkey to confess the terrible defeat to the Sultan, who condemns him to death by strangulation. His last words are said to have been, "Make sure you tie the loop properly." The Family, Court and State Archive in Vienna. Here the documents from the time of the Turkish siege are preserved. What were the consequences of the 12th of September 1683 for world history? That day sealed the fate of Ottoman rule in Europe. A document underlined the scale of the Ottoman defeat. The Treaty of Karlowitz. After the siege of Vienna, the Habsburgs won back the territories occupied by the Ottomans. In Karlowitz in Serbia, the Turks had to recognize the status quo.
Wenn man die Bedeutung der Entsatzschlacht auf dem Kahlenberg 1683 sieht, so muss man zwei Dinge unterscheiden. Einerseits die propagandistische Ausnützung bis in die Gegenwart dieses Tages. Vor kurzem hat ein EU-Kommissar im Zusammenhang mit den Fragen der Aufnahme der Türkei in die Europäische Union gesagt, dass damit 1683 sozusagen revidiert oder hinfällig geworden wäre. Auf der anderen Seite muss man sehen, dass 1683 wirklich in der historischen Situation einen Wendepunkt insofern darstellt, als die Habsburger 1683 und nach 1683 zu einer Offensive übergegangen sind, die dazu führten, dass nach fast 200 Jahren der Defensive man Ungarn erobert hat und weit in den Balkan vorgedrungen ist und damit das Osmanische Reich zurückgedrängt wurde. Ein Prozess, der dann im 19. und 20. Jahrhundert mit der endgültigen Zurückdrängung der Türkei geendet hat.
In the wake of the battle, the Habsburgs became one of the greatest land powers in Europe. Austria became a double monarchy with Hungary and a multinational state until 1914. An irony of history. After the victory over the Turks, Vienna became a mediator between East and West, between the Muslim Orient and the Christian West. The two cultures that had fought one another so bitterly drew closer together. Turkish items, such as these cannonballs, soon entered Viennese folklore. In 1683, they were aimed at the soldiers defending the breach. Now, they are all that remains of the siege. But most of the victory trophies ended up in Krakow. It was Sobieski and his 14,000 winged horsemen who turned the battle around, liberating Europe from the threat of the Turks. The Poles disregarded the General Staff's ban on looting the Ottoman camp. They took with them as much as they could carry. But Sobieski himself took the best booty. He took everything that Kara Mustafa had left behind. The Viennese too shamelessly took whatever they could of the Turkish booty, as it is still called.
My friend Kolchitsky, like me, one of the Emperor's spies, did very well in the Turkish camp. He took what everyone else spurned, sacks of strange beans. And as he could hardly go on trading with the Orient, he opened Vienna's first coffee house.
Ein Kaffee. Sie werden von der Qualität überrascht sein.
And then there was a baker. In honor of the victory over the Turks, he made our Kipfeln rolls into Turkish crescents. I believe that in the kingdom of Louis XIV, who so contemptibly left the Christians in the lurch, they now call our invention croissant. And as my wages had not yet been paid, I reminded our most merciful emperor, king and lord, of my spying services during the liberation of Vienna. Your Majesty, I was the only one who dared to take letters through the terrible Turkish camp. Your most humble servant, Georg Michailowicz.
Without Count von Staremberg's tenacity in holding out, Vienna would have fallen. Charles of Lorraine, the Emperor's brilliant general, uncomplainingly took second place to save Vienna. He had to leave the honor of being the liberator of Vienna to the King of Poland, Jan Sobieski.